This morning is about the U.S. presidential debate. The second one, it happened earlier this morning. That's Kenyan time, but in the U.S. that was Sunday evening. And a quick look, because according to CNN instant poll immediately after the debate, it puts Hillary Clinton at 57% and Donald Trump at 34%. I don't know if you agree, if at all you watched the poll, because we have among my panelists this morning a very rare inclusion, and that's a Trump supporter right here in Kenya.
No, I don't support Trump.
You openly said on this panel.
No, I support the Republican Party.
The Republican Party.
Yes,
and you've supported Trump and his policies on this panel, so you cannot really escape.
Well, some of his policies, I do support them.
Let's start with you. How do you think your candidate performed?
Well, I don't support some of his comments regarding women. I think those comments are not good at all, and probably I would urge my supporters in the Republican Party to consider withdrawing him. But I do support the Republican views. Yes, indeed.
Okay. And of course, going into this debate, there was a lot of talk about that leaked video where he made Donald Trump, the Republican candidate, made very disparaging remarks about women. And we're seeing something similar in Kenya with this allegories to do with wives. When politicians are talking about each other and they're saying it's about suitors. Do you think that probably we'll get something, it will get to that in terms of our own politics?
Well, it hasn't. You have to realize Donald Trump was a reality show TV star. Yeah, so there are some comments that he really makes that he thinks he's having fun, but there's really no private and public position in life. Yeah, so that was his private position, and it's affecting his private life, his public life. What I'm liking is Kenyans are beginning to pay attention to issue-based politics, because that's what America is about. Why Trump is having such a hard time, and if you realize, before some of these things started coming out, they were neck to neck in the polls with Hillary Clinton. Now she's opening a very significant lead, just less than a month to the elections. So it's really showing how issue-based politics work in America, and we as Kenyan politicians should begin to get away from the tribal, from the personal kind of politics, and start talking about issues. And Donald Trump's issue is what he thinks about women. He's been making derogatory comments about women, very offensive comments about women, on how they look. And it's really not about how somebody looks. It's what about somebody is capable of, how somebody thinks, and so on and so forth. So I hope we are learning something here in Kenya from what's happening in America.
And of course, before we go to MP Yusuf Hassan, just to stay with the two of you, the issues that have been raised over and over, we're seeing them repeating, like the claims against Hillary Clinton, the Democratic Party candidate, about her emails, about her foreign policy. But over and over, Trump is seen as dismissive Clinton, but not really providing a solution. Do you think that this poll is actually true, 57 to 34, according to CNN?
Well, the polls are true. I think the polls are true, because you can see the trend that has been happening throughout the campaign trail. Yes, Hillary is coming out more mature. She's being attacked very seriously, but she's calm about it. Demeanor also matters a lot. And if you understand what Hillary is doing in her campaign, she's trying to paint, and quite successfully, trying to paint Donald Trump as somebody who doesn't have the temperament to be in the White House. As somebody who, listen, if you get so mad about what happens on Twitter, how can we trust you with the codes to nuclear weapons? So she's very successfully creating that narrative that, listen, I'm calm, I'm mature, I'm trusted, I can be a safe pair of hands for the White House. But you, Trump, you're just a loose cannon. And it's working significantly for her. Now, she's made some mistakes before, especially those leaked emails, having a private server, which was unbecoming of a public servant, according to the way the United States works. But she apologized about it. She came and she said, listen, I made a mistake. It's time to move on. This is what I think about how we're going to make America continue being the leader in the world going forward. And that scandal pretty much ended because Americans accepted the apology. Now, if you look at some of the comments before yesterday's debate, people kept saying, even as the Republicans were denouncing Trump, you know, the former U.S. presidential candidate Mitt Romney, who ran against Obama and so on, and several other congressmen and senators were denouncing Trump Republicans. What really was happening with some people were saying, listen, if Trump can come clean on the debate and say, yes, I said this about women, it was more than 10 years ago, I'm a changed man, I said it especially when I was just newly married, I am sorry, let's move on, you'd have seen the numbers change a little differently. But he didn't do that, and that's why I think Hillary won that debate.
Bwana Kangata, of course, this video that everyone is talking about, where he made disparaging remarks against women, how much of that do you think affected the outcome of today's debate? Because some other sections of the media are really saying that today's Hillary Clinton, as opposed to the first debate, she did not really perform way better than Donald Trump. Actually, some are saying it was 50-50. But you can see the poll immediately after, according to CNN, it's 57-34. Do you think it has anything to do with that video, that people are already perceiving Donald Trump negatively?
No, the fact is, when you look at today's debate, because I watched it, it was very clear that Trump was a better debater today. He was able to raise serious issues as opposed to Hillary Clinton. And there were issues which Clinton never addressed. For instance, the issue regarding the private-public views on certain subject. Clearly, her answer was not a good one. Be that as it may, we must understand why is it that this guy called Trump is very popular. And to me, it has everything to do with every society. Every society has what we call some elites who deem them so educated, who always deem as if they have the way a society should be run. And there's also what we call the hoi polloi, the common man, who tends to have a different view of society as opposed to the elite. So these guys are appealing to the common people. And I always love people who appeal to the common people. And I'll give you a good example. When William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta decided to vie in the year 2013, the so-called elites came up with this notion, no, we cannot elect people having cases in the ICC, we are going to become a pariah state. And I was so happy that Uhuru won. You were able to smash that notion, that narrative. The same notion that somehow I'm somehow attracted to Trump. Of course, I have issues with some of his comments, but that notion is able to connect with the common American when he's talking about the jobs which have been lost by globalization. I'm very happy. When he talk about he has issues, he supports what we call evangelical views on abortion, issues about the so-called gay relations. I personally support people who talk about Christianity, who have strong religious values, as opposed to the so-called liberals, who view as if religion is something that is backward. So to me, I love people who connect with the masses. And we are not for this new video that has surfaced. I'm most likely supporting Donald Trump. And I can give you a parallel. Look at a country called the Philippines. There was a guy who has been elected to become the president called President Duterte. He came up with very unconventional views. He was saying, oh, these guys who are selling drugs to our children, we shoot them. These criminals, we kill them. And he was elected overwhelmingly. I was very happy because he was talking about practical things. But these people talk about, I don't know, human rights, I don't know what. That's nonsense. We want development.
Human rights, you can't really say that.
No, I can tell you some of these ideas. You see, we have seen like human rights activists in this country blocking development. When government wants, for instance, to construct Southern Bypass, they go to court, they cite environmental concerns, they block development. When you're talking about poor people who are being killed by criminals, when police take action, oh, they say extrajudicial killing. Why can't you think about the victim of the crime? Why can't you think about the people who are going to benefit when you have Southern Bypass? That is the clique I'm always fighting for. The so-called elites who don't think about the poor person.
I want to rope in Bwana Yusuf Hassan into this conversation now. And of course, you've lived in the United States. And probably you've observed some of these elections. And the lead up to this election, to this debate, because it's only a month, less than a month to the election date, which comes up on November 8th. We are already on the 10th of October, so it's actually less than a month to the election. But in the United States, even something like this debate can change the trend, because in the lead up to this debate, Hillary Clinton only had a 4-point lead in front of Donald Trump in the polls. Now, we're seeing this debate, and people are saying it was 50-50. Yet some people are saying 57-34. How much of a difference does it make when you hold a debate in the United States, as opposed to Kenya, because we've seen debates and they don't nothing changes much?
Well, I think first of all, let me say I'm really sorry about my colleague Mheshimiwa Irungu Kang'ata, a young man in a developing country, to have such a reactionary position on issues like what is happening in the United States, because definitely here there is a big difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. The Republican Party is the establishment party that does not want change. Usually it is the Democrats who are more of a party that wants changes in society. If you look at the issue of civil rights, for example, equality and so on, the Democratic Party has been leading that debate in the last 50 or 60 years. Now, if we come to the issue of whether you can win in a debate, a debate can win you votes.
Election, yes.
You know, it does help to a matter of degrees, but I think people have already decided. It's just a question of the undecided, which is a segment of the population that has not decided whether they should vote for A or B, whether they should vote for Trump or Clinton. But the bulk, the main constituencies of this have already decided. And I think if you look at the case of Trump, Trump is damaged good. He is the worst presidential candidate, I think, in the history of the United States. I have lived in the United States. I have covered, in fact, some of the elections as a journalist in the United States. And I have been in and out of the US recently to see the political trend that is going on. At the moment, 150 Republican representatives, congressmen, senators, and governors have denounced him. It is unprecedented in the history of any political party for such a large number of the leadership of a party to sort of decide that they would not support that particular candidate. Secondly, this is a candidate who is racist, who is sexist. He is a bigot, and he's beyond the pale. And therefore, I do not see any possibility of he being elected in the next election. And he's the other big mistake he has made is that he seems not to understand his candidate. The candidate he's fighting against is Hillary Clinton, not Bill Clinton. He seems to be focusing so much.
And not Obama.
Yes, not Obama. So as far as I can see this battle going on at the moment, I think even as Hillary Clinton entered this debate, Donald Trump was already seen as someone who has lost the election. And in fact, it is also unprecedented in the sense that there is a call from the Republican Party, not from his opponent, for him to step down. Because it is very clear that he's heading for a terrible defeat in the November election.
Interestingly, it's an extraordinary rebuke that Trump's own running mate, the Indiana Governor Mike Pence, has declared that he could neither condone nor defend the remarks made by Trump. When your own running mate actually steps back and says, because even the running mate actually cancelled an appearance this past weekend where he was supposed to be speaking alongside someone else on the campaign trail, and he said, okay, fine, I'm taking a break from that. That's his own running mate. But anyway, let's...
just when you're on the running mate, Fred, it's also important to note that the running mate has actually suspended his time on the campaign trail. And there's some prediction that he might quit. The race, which again is unprecedented. You've never had in the history of the United States presidential election that a running mate says just less than a month before the election that, hey, I quit.
Trump might actually be forced to name another running mate with only weeks left to the election.
Exactly. So I agree with my friend MP Yusuf Hassan that he's damaged goods. Let's begin to look at history of America having the first woman president.
But you see, the point is, I agree he's not the right candidate for the Republican Party, but we need to look at him from a holistic point of view.
But he's also damaged the Republican Party. The Republican Party will be so damaged after this election that it will have to be it will have to be reformed in some ways to be able to become relevant
Yes.
in America's multi-party democracy.
Yes, I concede on that point, but I know it has internal mechanism of coming up with a solution to that problem. But the point is, we must also understand the nature of politics. And I'm going to give you a good example. When we were electing a governor in Nairobi last time, he came up with this notion, I've been, I don't know, a manager in which company, I'm a very educated doctor. But you have seen what kind of management of Nairobi has done. I can tell you, Sonko, who comes out as if he's a guy who just look a commoner, who's not very polished, he is going to win. He's going to become the next governor, notwithstanding the so-called elites having a notion that is not maybe a material for a governor position.
I think
so we have seen these people who come here flaunting suits. This is a guy who can't help Kenya, and they can't. We have tried.
Wanamweke, I know you have to react.
No, I'll react to that, and I completely forgive my friend, because you know he lives in Moranga.
Yeah.
So he doesn't understand anything about Nairobi.
No,
he doesn't understand some of the things that that we've done in Nairobi within healthcare, of putting up maternities like never ever before. We've put up now 24-hour systems where people are going to hospital in the middle of the night. We've built 40 ECD centers. We have 105 roads under construction. We've increased tremendously from 600 tons to 1.2 million tons, 600,000 tons to 1.2 million tons of garbage collected.
You see, the problem is that we can't see that.
We can't see Moranga.
No. I work in
I think you moved away from our discussion.
No, the point is, I can tell you, Trump is like Sonko.
I will give you a chance.
And Sonko is going to...
I will give you a chance to talk about that. But in